Well, it just wouldn't be Thanksgiving without cheesy potatoes. Am I right?
It's true.
I'm pretty sure that's what everybody goes for. It's either that or mac and cheese. So you might be thinking to yourself, I am not swapping out my grandma's homemade cheesy potatoes. This is just our classic recipe. This is what we stick to. But I'm telling you right now, every single person requests this recipe every year at Thanksgiving. It is that good. And really, we use all of the cheese and all of the goodness in these potatoes, but we layer it with a little bit of a healthier cream sauce. So you really won't know that it's healthier. I promise you it's worth a try for this Thanksgiving. We're gonna start by adding just some ingredients for the sauce into a hot pot. A hot pot. So we're gonna start by adding our ingredients for the sauce into a hot pot. We're gonna do 1 diced onion, a 1/4 cup of oat flour, 1 tablespoon of minced garlic, 3 cups of milk of choice, 3/4 teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese, and about 3.5 cups of shredded cheese. And then Emily, you have 4 potatoes, and you can use whatever type of potato that you like. You could even use sweet potatoes for this recipe. So Em, I'm gonna have you take your mandolin slicer and just start to slice those. And we did wash them beforehand. You could peel the potatoes, but you really don't need to. Just using the whole potato, it just takes out a step for you. And honestly, it tastes just as delicious and makes it easier. So I'm all about easy in the kitchen. We're gonna add our onion to the hot pan here, and then we're gonna add our garlic, our minced garlic. And we did add a tablespoon of avocado oil to this pot before we got started. So that is definitely something that you wanna do, is always use either a cooking spray or just a drizzle of oil whenever you're gonna saute onions and garlic, so that it has something nice to work with as it gets all warm and cooks off some of that onion and garlic. Then we're gonna add a 1/4 cup of oat flour to this onion and garlic mixture, and this is gonna be the base of our cream sauce. Now we're gonna add our milk, and we're just gonna kind of whisk this as it cooks and kind of make sure all of those lumps and clumps are out with the oat flour in there, and just kind of broken down so that it's a nice, smooth, creamy sauce. So you essentially want to bring the milk to a boil. So you want to turn it on high heat, bring the sauce to a boil. Once you see that it's boiling, then you want to turn it down a little bit to a simmer, so that you're just simmering it while it cooks and thickens up. And it will begin to thicken, but it'll take about 5 to 7 minutes. So don't get impatient, just know that as it heats up, that sauce will get nice and thick. And you'll want to continuously whisk it. It's not like you have to sit here whisking constantly, but you do want to make sure you whisk it enough to make sure that all that oat flour and the clumps get nice and dissolved into a smooth, creamy sauce. And this is really the hardest part. I mean, you didn't even have to peel your potatoes, you know? With mashed potatoes, you have to peel the potatoes. So I mean, there you go. I'm not making you peel a potato. So you can start to layer half of these potatoes into a 9 by 13 baking dish. And I'm gonna finish up the cheese sauce. While you do that, I'm gonna add the Parmesan cheese next. And I'm gonna leave a little bit of the shredded cheese for the topping of these potatoes. So I'm just gonna add about 3 cups and save about a 1/2 cup for topping. So I'm just gonna whisk in those cheeses until they begin to melt. Look how good that cheese sauce looks already. Now, I did want to mention, if your kids or your family doesn't like onions, you can just leave that out of the recipe altogether. Look how good that looks.
It does look good.
And see how easy that was?
Yeah.
So we just used oat flour. I used almond milk, so if you don't have regular milk on hand, any kind of milk will do. And you just want to get it to a point that it's thick enough that it would kind of stick on your whisk or a spoon, so that looks perfect. Okay, so this is the part where you might need to call one of the guys in from the football game and say, hey, I need you to come help me pour this cheese sauce. because it's a little
Need
bit,
a couple hands.
it's a little bit heavy, depending on what kind of pot you're using, to pour some of this cheese sauce over the potatoes.
Yeah.
So we're essentially creating like a lasagna here. So we're doing layers. We're doing layer of potatoes, then cheese sauce, potatoes, cheese sauce.
Got it. Let's do it.
All right, and then we'll do another layer of potatoes
This looks good.
for that.
This is a great dish to bring too, like if you're, someone else is hosting,
Yeah,
because it comes in a nice dish. You could easily probably reheat this, right?
yeah. And little did they know that you used oat flour.
easy.
You didn't use any butter, right? It's
yeah.
a little bit healthier for you.
Maybe you don't tell them that.
No, I never do, never do, never do. But people know I'm dashing dish, so
They probably expect
I
it
can't
for
get
you.
away with it too easily.
Yeah.
And so if you're gonna make this ahead of time, what I would suggest, because I love to make food ahead of time for Thanksgiving, at least 2 or 3 days ahead. So what I would do is I would just stop after this. I would not bake it. I would just top it with your cheese and then cover it with foil, keep it in your fridge, and then bake it the day of, because that's when the cheese is gonna taste the best is when it's just melted. So now I'm going to cover this with foil. We're gonna bake it at 350 degrees for 1 hour. Then we're gonna take the foil off and we're gonna bake it for another 30 minutes just to let that cheese get really nice and melted, and the potatoes will cook all the way through with the foil.